Today we are hanging out with my friend Carl from keywordcare.com, and we are going to chat about how he started his side hustle and how he's been able to make nice money, 3,000 plus per month from his side hustle, and other things that you guys might be interested in. So, if you're ready, vámonos.
Don't stop. Don't stop.
Hey boss, what's up? Adrian Diaz here with Hasta La Vista Boss, the place where ambitious people like you, my friend, and Carlin here, and everybody in the chat. We are talking about how to create a side hustle, make it profitable, quit our job, become our own boss. That's my dream, and I hope that's yours as well. Carlitos, that's how I like to call Carl. Welcome, buddy, finally to Hasta La Vista Boss. How you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very excited to have you on finally.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. I've been, calling, come on, Carl, come on. No, 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 no. I'm scared to go live. I'm not comfortable. But as you can see here, we are between friends. Everybody, and talking about friends, let me go quickly to the chat and say hello to everybody. There's so many people today. We have a full house. Welcome, Helen. How's it going? Chris Tipton. Hello, Michelle. What time is it in your area? I think it's very early. Jim, how's it going? Thank you for being here. Steve Robertson. Who else is in here? Craig Watkins. I'm sorry if I don't see your questions or if I butcher your name a little bit. I don't have my glasses and I can't see properly. If you guys have any questions for Carl, please drop them in the chat. Alternatively, something very cool that we do on this YouTube channel is that you can join us and you can chat with us directly here live by joining, by just clicking that link in there. Michelle said that there's no way. Well, I hope, just say hello. You don't have to, do anything special. Just say hello. I know what overseas as well. Welcome. So, Carlos. Do you mind if I call you Carlos?
Fine.
It sounds so sexy. So you know what I was thinking about when I was coming home while I was driving from work right now is that people don't give me likes when I share this kind of videos on my personal Facebook group, personal Facebook account. Usually I have tens, sometimes hundreds of likes. But when I share stuff about making money, and side hustling and all that, people don't believe me. I don't know what the hell is going on. What do you think about this? Carl, what have been your experience so far? With people when you tell them, "Hey, I'm doing this. I'm trying to get out of the rat race, building my own stuff." What people say usually?
I think online, so YouTube, Facebook, I think it's quite warmly received because I think a lot of people that's in there are trying to do the same thing. It's when you talk to people outside, offline, that haven't a clue what we're doing. I get asked at work all the time. They take the mickey. Cal's on YouTube and stuff like this, but they don't kind of understand like the core affiliate marketing business. Trying to explain that I still haven't come up with a good way of doing it. I think I change what I say every day. I just tend to say I'm a web designer, and they go, yeah.
Yeah, oh, nice. You do
affiliate marketing.
Websites.
They just haven't a clue, and then you spend an hour trying to tell them, and then they just smile like they know what you're on about, and then they walk away and probably turn to their husband and go, "What's he do?"
Yeah, Jesus Christ. I mean, what happens is I don't want. This is actually one of the things that I want to do with this YouTube channel and having you guys here in the chat and in general with my journey is that I want to make people understand that what we do here, this is genuine business.
Yeah.
This is not those business opportunities or multi-level marketing bullshit or whatever. We are trying to build businesses that are genuine.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, when I kind of first started it, and I said to the wife, this is what I want to do. When you put in, I don't know, 60, 70 hours into it, and then they say, well, how much you earned, and you say like $3, and they're like laugh at you. You know what I mean? But then as it gets bigger and bigger, they start to take notice a little bit, and then. I always said to the wife, when I earn a consistent amount each month, I put a figure on it. I don't know what it was, I can't remember now. But when I hit that every month for 6 months, I'll know that I'm onto something here. And that when that happens, and it's like, oh, okay, it's been consistent now. This isn't a flash in the pan. This isn't going away anytime soon. This is a proper business. And yeah, I mean, trying to do this full time, have a full time, passive income, has been, I've had to start treating it as a business now. A proper, real business. Expenses. Think about taxes. Thinking about accountants. I've got to start thinking about it as a proper business now.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what's changing with me at the moment.
Sweet. I do remember when I started as well, and I was with my phone showing the my colleagues on site, in a construction site. I work in a construction site. Hey, look what I'm doing. Look, I'm trying to make some money online. Look, I'm building this website, and of course the first thing they're gonna say, how much money you making?
Yeah.
At that time, I was selling maybe one product per month or something like that. It wasn't.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. But of course.
I think that's human interest, isn't it? People want to know, a monetary value puts a perspective on a business, so I think that's one thing. I always remember, I've been in business kind of since I was 18. And I always remember one of my first ever bosses who was a very, very successful businessman. And he once said to me, turnover is vanity and profit is sanity. And that stuck with me for years. And he said,
it's quite nice quote that.
Yeah, because he said, I mean, like I said, he's gone on now. He runs a Formula 3 racing car company. You know what I mean? But he used to say, there's businesses around me that are taking 10 times as much money as me. And he said, and it sounds great as a number, but I make a lot more profit than them. And so I think when people are interested in something and you say, I made $100 this month, they can put a level on that. They can say, okay, that would buy you this and that would buy you that. And then when you say, I made $1,000 a month, they think, oh, I could have a holiday with that. That's good money. Yeah. And I think I think it's just human nature. I don't think anybody's been, bad for asking, how successful is your business, how much do you make? Yeah. I think it's just a way that they can quantify the success of what you're doing.
I mean, makes sense. I mean, as well, that's as well a way of them thinking about you. Okay, this guy is serious. I mean, of course, if you're making £5 per month, how serious you are. But if you tell, I'm making a few hundred pounds, £1,000, interesting.
Yeah.
That's when they get interested.
Yeah, I mean, in our business, if it's affiliate, if it's blogging you're doing, and it's about content, nobody's going to stand if you say, how are you doing? You go, I posted 4 articles this week. They're going to be like, so.
I want to welcome in the chat as well Stephen Buchanan. How's it going, brother? Josh as well. Kieran. Steve says, thanks for doing this, Adrian. Of course, my pleasure. I love to hang out with you guys. You know what? You'll find out, if you don't know already, that being, like we were chatting already, being in this world, trying to make it out of the rat race, build a business or something, it's going to be very lonely. So, I'm happy and I'm lucky to have you guys that I can share my journey with, and, talk to people like Carl that they can share their success and their journey with us. I love it. So here's Kieran says, sorry, I'm a bit late. I was writing a lot of. Oh, you were writing. That's good. Well done. Um, Chris says here, Carl, how hard was it for you to write articles for the first couple of months?
It wasn't so much hard writing them, but it was just the quality sucked. It was just they were just terrible. I quickly realised, spelling and grammar has not been my forte since never. So I always knew I was going to struggle with that, and I realised that when I showed my first ever website to my boss, and I was really proud of it, and I said, here's an article, read this, it's great. And I showed him the article, and he just ripped it to pieces with spelling and grammar. And then I kind of realised, okay, that side of it needs kind of dealing with. So either I need somebody to help me proofread these, or just somebody else writes them. And I continued to write, and I think I got a little bit better. I certainly started using more tools, Grammarly and things like that, just to try and improve on it a bit. But the content and writing it actually came quite naturally. It wasn't too difficult to do that. But times change. I mean, as you get into topics that are a little bit more deep, or you need more research, then I started just trying to find somebody, which wasn't hard to find somebody who was better than me, and just let them write it, So.
Well, Helen says it's still not your forte.
Yeah, Helen's been an absolute rock and a treasure to me. So I wouldn't be here without Helen. That's for
Helen
sure.
is a superstar. If everybody doesn't know, Helen is a superstar.
Cheers.
Let me ask you a question. You were just talking about the boss. I put the our hangout here on Alex's group, and since we're talking about the boss, Dan Richardson has a question. Actually, there are two questions. First question, Carl, let us know: are you your own boss already?
No, I still have a part-time job. So I had quite a decent job. So I was in a supermarket at quite a high level, as a trader level. So it was quite a senior role. And it's taken me, I think, 2.5 years to get to the point where I walked into the office and said, I want to quit, and my boss was like, no, I don't want you to leave, I want you to stay. And he did everything he could and offered me everything he could. So we agreed for me to go part-time. So I only work a couple of days a week. So that's all I work.
That's
Financially,
awesome.
I can stop. I could stop, tomorrow. But in the job role that I've got, with the pandemic and the food supply chain, it's been obviously a tough 6 months. And the colleagues back in the store have all worked so hard, and the managers and all the colleagues, that they've now worked endlessly for like 6 months, that they're at the point now where they all kind of need a holiday and a break. So there's a lot of holidays at work. So I'm at the point where, I'm so close to and tempted every day to say, that's it. And I could survive, not a problem. But I've got to look at the bigger picture, you know what I mean? So I want to help these guys out, and it's hard in retail at the minute with what's going on. So, while it's difficult and things like that, I'm probably going to stick around for a bit longer. But I hope my boss isn't watching this, but it's certainly before Christmas.
Don't.
If he watches these videos, I'll be very surprised.
Do they know that you're doing this?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. My boss has been very, very supportive. So if he does watch this, thank you very much. He has been one that asks. I walk in, he asks me every day, how are you doing? How much you made? How much you made?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And it's got round the supermarket. I mean, the supermarket's got 500 employees. They all kind of know that I've got a YouTube channel, and that they don't really know what blogging is, but they just know I do online stuff. And I have a YouTube channel. That's kind of what they know.
Before I move to the next question that Dan has, what do you guys think if you give us a thumbs up if you like this content, and consider to subscribe if you're new here. By the way, if you're new here to Hasta La Vista Boss YouTube channel, welcome. I hope you like it. And all those of you regulars, welcome back. I love you all. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoy it. And let me go back to the chat quickly. And we have a question here from... the second question from Dan actually was saying... he was saying... let me read it because I don't want to... so how much do you want to make before you leave your job? Do you have a fixed amount or...
That target's changed.
Really?
Well, originally it was, I said if I made $2,000 a month, then I'd quit my job there and then on the spot, boom, done. But then you kind of realise that the money that you're making is what's growing my business. So I invest and reinvest everything, pretty much everything. So then it hit. I'm thinking, okay, so if I make $2,500, then I could take $2,000 out and I could put $500 a month into content. But then you realize kind of how big your business is. Yeah. And then I think, $500 now won't touch the surface of what I write every week or month. So your target goes up. But realistically, I mean, to live on $3,000 a month, comfortable, it's that pays on my bills. I can reinvest it back into the business. But, if you want bigger things, you got to invest. So my thought process is over the next few months, which is what I'm doing, just write.
And keep writing.
Yeah.
Kirk, how's it going, boss? What's up? J-Bag, what's going on, boss? Phil, yo. How's it going, everybody? Thanks for being here. Phil says, Carl and Adrian, two legends in one stream. I love you, brother.
I think Phil is the legend in my eyes.
I think so, yeah. Well, know what's good, that we are legends in someone's eyes, right? Each one of us. And that's the beauty of networking. Like Helen was saying earlier, if we network, we feel less alone in this. This is a grind, It's not fucking easy to build what we're building here. And if you have positive people around you that can support you and motivate you to do something, then the seems to be like the path, it's a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree. Motivation as well, because sometimes you do feel like you're doing things wrong or you're not doing things right, and it does take sometimes somebody to go, wait a minute, let's just put this in reality. It's taken me all week to write one article and you've published 20. Think about this. You know what I mean? And then you kind of like, yeah, okay, I get it. I'm doing all right.
Jim was saying here in the chat that I think it's hard for people to understand the affiliate income. They understand if you actually sell a product, but not essentially an advert. Yeah. You know what? I was thinking about this because I made a video. If you guys didn't watch that video, maybe it's worth it to watch it, in which I talk about how to stop living paycheck to paycheck in 4 steps that I personally did. So there's no bullshit guru going on there. But I wanted to have a very easy description of what we're doing here, what affiliate marketing is. So, because I know that people who's going to watch that video, they might not necessarily be affiliate marketers. The people who are struggle and they want to get out of this situation. So I said that affiliate marketing is simply, and I think that's what it is anyway, simply advertising other people's products or services, and if that person becomes a customer, if they buy, then we get a commission. That's all it is. And I think it's easy to understand if you say like that, right? I mean, if you recommend someone, hey, go and watch this latest movie, usually don't get anything for saying that, but that's kind of what I explain to people what it is, No,
I have. It's funny you say that because I'm kind of smirking here because I've had a video plan for ages and I've got the script right on my computer screen here. And it's trying to get my son involved, because when I first told my son what affiliate marketing was, kind of this is how it went. He said, Dad, what is this you're doing online? I said, well, I do affiliate marketing. He said, well, what's that? I said, well, I sell other people's products. And he goes, oh, what are they? Do you own them? And I said, no, I don't own them. He said, And his first reaction was, "So you stole them?" I said, "No, I didn't steal them." You know, and he goes,
Cheeky
"Well,
monkey.
how can you sell somebody else's products?" I said, "Because they're allowed." And he's like, "Well, what products are there?" So, well, anything. He's like, this conversation went on and on and on. And I said, "Do you know what? We've got to script this. We've got to play roll this, out. It'd make a great video for anybody who says, what's affiliate marketing?" And I was gonna literally just run this, and it was so funny. Try to explain to him what it was like. Yeah.
Well, then the next thing you could try to explain to someone is like, let's say I go to the dentist and I have my own dentist and it's good. I like my dentist. And then you have your friend, a neighbor, or someone. Hey, oh my tooth is hurting. I need to check it out. I need to do something. Do you know a dentist? Well, I do know a dentist, by the way, and here's his phone number. Call him and tell him Carl sent you. Then if you have a relationship with your dentist, then hopefully he's gonna give you some bonus, some cash for the weekend or something. That's what I do with my accountant. Every time I send people to him, and we don't have anything settled, right? It's just word of mouth. He said to me, "Adrian, if you know someone, because I work in the construction, there's many people in construction who needs accountant for just to close the year or whatever they need. If you send someone to me and they become a customer, I pay you £100. So that's
yeah. I thought you was going to say every customer you sent him, you were going to take a free tooth out.
Just Samson is here. How's it going, bruh? I don't have a sound like Pat Flynn, but I'm gonna make sure I get one for next time I see you in the chat. I give you bruh. So let me see if there was a question up here that I missed. Kirk was saying that he has a quick question, and my glasses, I don't have my. Oh, is it worth trying to outrank the YouTube carousel in Google?
It's going to be difficult to answer that because the Google carousel isn't going to show up in every search for that keyword. So some people are going to see that carousel, some people aren't. So if you type the same keyword in, it's not necessarily going to show up for everybody. So I would still, at the minute, if it's got too many obstacles on the page like that, then I would also look at the other written content on there and decide those two factors. Is it then going to be worth doing? If you're fighting two factors, so you're fighting video carousel and Google ads, and then you're also fighting really strong domain authority as well from other competition, then you'd have to look and think that's going to be a hard battle to fight. So I would look at the overall assessment of the page and decide individually, but I wouldn't just let a video carousel put you off.
Definitely. And I just put on the screen here something I want to show you, Kirk. So why don't you, instead of worrying if you want to outrank the YouTube carousel, which I'm not sure you can do, but what you can do something like this. So if you look for Kyle Roof SEO course, I have an article for it, which is this, and then I have a video about it as well, is this. So instead of thinking about if you can outrank those the carousel, why don't you make a video and try to compete and have, as you can see here, I have one result in here, which is my website. Then I have a video in here. I believe I have I have another page in here. I don't find, here, the Reddit, which is mine as well. So I have 3 results for one keyword on page 1. That's kicking ass. So think about, usually you should create a YouTube channel with every website that you build, just because you can have more content that you can syndicate, or you have more chances to rank in Google. I hope that was helpful. Chris says, are you guys only using Amazon affiliate, or you are affiliates for digital products as well? As you just saw, Chris, I'm affiliate for other products as well. How about you, Carl?
Not an affiliate for many digital products. Digital products are something I'd like to get into, or more apps maybe. Something that's, a little bit less, a little bit more passive. Once you get something developed, so looking at like big things like Spencer Horse's Link Whisper, that superb app that he built. And I think he publicly and openly says that it was, a case study in building it. And I think he said it cost him like $18,000 to build. But, you think of the longevity of that now, that's 5 or 6 years worth of sales, he's going to reap from that, before he could possibly develop it further. So, digital products would be something certainly that I'm looking into. I've got a couple of ideas. I've been playing around with one today, see if I can come up with something, but yeah, I'd love to get into something like that.
That's awesome. But anyway, you are like 1 foot in, because you're promoting these type of tools, that I believe they have recurring commission, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
That's awesome. That's kicking ass.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, recurring affiliate commissions. If you can find the programs, they are out there. They are some of the best ones to do. I mean, Ezoic, for instance, is, if you think about the affiliate program Ezoic has, it's an absolute gold mine. You only need, you get 3% of somebody else's earnings. You only need, let's say, 20 people to sign up for Ezoic through your affiliate link. If all 20 of those, or even 10 of them, have a couple of really big websites that start making $30,000-$40,000 a month, you get 3% of that every month.
Nice, innit? Chris says here. Actually, I just said what Chris said. Let me go to Facebook again quickly and take one question from there as well. By the look of it, I won't be able to ask any of my questions because these awesome people had loads of questions for you, brother. Here's a funny one from Narendra. What is the niche you're making 550 bucks per day? And please share the URL with us. We need to know ASAP.
That wasn't one website. It wasn't one URL. I wish it was. But no, that was across my whole kind of portfolio, all my affiliate business, all rolled into one. That day totaled that amount. I've not had it since. It didn't happen the day after. I was hoping it would. But you always have ups and downs. I've had days where I've earned more than that, but it's been through either selling a website or, a service. This was the first day where I'd earned it through affiliate commissions, where I'd literally just woke up and I'd earned the money. I mean, that's what we're all after.
But is this a product that you advertise, or it was something like I remember someone bought a camera lens. It cost like $2,500. People are crazy spending that money. But I don't advertise that. I'm not in that niche.
Yeah. No. This was a pet blog, so it's on one of my sites. And it's a new keyword a new seed keyword. So it's a topic within the pets that I'm trying to rank for. And I produced about, I'd say off the top of my head, 30 or 40 articles around this keyword. And one of them had sprung. I think it went to number 1, but I think somebody must have shared it as well because it got a lot of traffic within 2 or 3 days. And one of the products in there was a good $500-$600 product, and I think the commission on it was $45. It ranged from $30 to $45. So I had 10 sales in one day of that product.
Awesome, that's crazy. Jim, thanks for being here, brother. Let us know when you watch this later on. Leave a comment on the replay. It would be awesome to know what do you think. If you have any questions, that would be awesome. Where is this here? Geeky Tech, welcome. How's it going, Ben? Welcome, brother. Ben is a very, very successful guy. maybe we need to get you on the show and share with us your experience, brother. Definitely we need to catch up. Yes. Helen says, did you have to mention dentist? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Helen, but I mentioned dentist, but as you can see, I don't have I don't have teeth, and I always remember about dentist because of that. Chris says here, give CPA a try, and if it will change your life. So we should give CPA a try, huh? I think so, but I think I'm doing already a lot of stuff. Well, CPA is anyway what I'm doing on the Telehandler Planet website, I guess, because I'm getting paid per lead. So people getting inside the form and putting the details in there, that's CPA, right? Or yeah. Kirk says, thanks, boss. I see your point. Definitely, I'm happy you heard. You got that, brother. So, question from Kieran, Merchants UK Homebrew. Carl, is there any niches? Where is the question? Is there any niches you recommend staying away from? Dating websites, etc.
I think any website can be successful, but it'd be how much money and time you've got to put into that. But I would certainly say, at the minute, medical niches, anything related to health, dating, dating, that kind of thing, I'm not interested in. Lifestyle, as in fitness, it's just so saturated. I don't know why when people say, right, I want to build a website, they instantly go to, health and fitness and, that kind. I don't know why people gravitate towards those kind of niches. And it's not that the people who own the top keywords and stuff are so difficult to beat. I think it's just that you're competing with so many. There's not just one at the top that you're aiming to beat. You've like 40 or 50 that are all DA 70 and 75, and you're just never gonna beat them, no matter how good you are. So there's a lot that I would instantly rule out. But I get asked this question a lot, and so I've started doing kind of a series of good niche ideas, because I think there's more good niches out there than there is bad ones. It's just people really, they overlook them, and they think that like Alex is doing his wheelbarrow one. People say, wheelbarrow, who wants to do a website about wheelbarrows? But you'll be surprised. You know what I mean? So I think rather look at what you should stay away from. Just try and find niches that you want to be in and that you have a chance of competing in, and ask people, get their advice. But overwhelmingly, I think you've got to kind of have a bit of a thirst and a bit of a knowledge for a niche to go into before you decide you're going to do that. Certainly, if it's your first one.
Sweet. Phil says here, I've been doing SEO work for a client, and Link Whisper has increased ranking in a site. HitGuard may core update, early days yet, but looking promising. And he says that buy not guard. That's awesome. That's interesting. Do you think that because of building more links, internal links, Phil, do you think that's the reason? Are any other things that you guys have done previously before using Link Whisper? That would be interesting to know.
I think that's kind of what we were talking about kind of off air, semantic SEO and, letting Google find your content as easy as possible and understanding what it is. And I think if you're using a strong internal linking system, whether you use Link Whisperer or do it manually, I think it just makes it easier for Google to understand the flow of your website, so that when it does crawl it, it understands easier what it is, and it has an easier time of crawling your website. Because when a website's crawled, it's literally it's on your website for seconds, and it's got to quickly have an overshot of your website within milliseconds. So I think just having a good, strong internal linking system just makes it easy for Google. So there'll be content probably on that site that Google didn't really know about or hasn't crawled regularly, and because of the internal linking that they've started using because of Link Whisper, has just made it easier when Google came to the site.
That's awesome. Yes, that's exactly accurate. It's building. If you and remember that on your site is probably the only place that you have total how do you say, power of decision
Yeah, control over
of
it.
where you link and how you link and where you get your links from. So you should definitely take advantage of that, because that's how you build topical relevancy for whatever topic you're talking about. And yeah, that's really good thing to do. I'm just curious if Phil and his team, or if you have a team, Phil, if you guys have done anything else like a month before that. I'll be curious to know that as well. But I believe what's his name, Spencer Hall. He already done a video about it where he was showing how just by doing internal links using his tool, of course, um, he got massive boost. That was really really impressive.
Yeah, I've seen a similar one where somebody linked out to an authority page. It was what they linked to was basically like a research document, which you wouldn't want to read. It was full of technical jargon, but
Yeah.
because it had topical relevancy, it did amazing things for that article. Their article was terrible, but because they linked out to this research paper, it did amazing things for the article. So
Sure thing. But remember the website that Kyle Roof built. If you guys
yeah,
don't know, he built a website in Latin Lorem Ipsum, and he ranked that website for for rhinoplasty keyword, which is of course very very competitive. But the website was completely in gibberish Latin
yeah,
text, just the
yeah.
keywords, and how he was linking his pages was English.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at as you're doing your kind of research and you're surfing the net and you look at stuff, have a look at some of the websites that you come across that are ranking, say, number one. So you click on it because it may be relevant to your keyword, and have a look at it, and then you load it up, and it's got 500 words on it, and it's garbage, and it's ranking number one for like 10,000 search a month term, and you wonder why and how it's doing that. Well, it's because of a lot of these tactics like the semantic SEO and stuff like that. It's that that's powering it. So I've seen some articles and thought, how the heck is that like above my 5,000 word article? And it's because the overall relevancy of the site.
Definitely. Uh, you should guys definitely get into more of these things if you want to stay in this game longer and have much more success. We definitely have to learn how Google is working, and you don't have to understand everything, but like Carl and I was talking before we went live, understanding where we are and where technology is going to help you build better websites and hopefully rank better and make more money. So Helen says here, Latin is gibberish. Well, it is because it's a dead language, but at the same time, he was using a tool to generate this Latin lorem ipsum text. So it's not making any sense. It's just whatever whatever the tool spits for us to use. Here's a question from Tony in the Facebook group. Do you think there's money to be made in online communities and courses, or is that too big of a hassle to go into that business? And before you answer this, Carl, Tony has a spreadsheet here that he would like to maybe if you can help him and fill it up. He's trying to gather some data. So what do you think, Carl?
Yeah, it's not something I've done. I saw his question, and I have actually filled in that questionnaire for him. And I think there certainly is room for creating kind of, I think, more an inner circle, either like mentorships or kind of, I don't know what the word is for it, but a kind of a private group where maybe
membership group,
yeah,
membership site.
yeah, exactly, yeah, maybe something like that where you've got, you can encourage maybe 5 or 6 people that are high up in the industry to get involved with, so that if somebody pays a subscription each month, you'll see a private tutorial video from each one of them every month. So I think you could create something like that, whether you're just trying to create like a Discord server group or a Facebook group. I don't see where the financial gain is going to come in from doing something like that. It'll be helpful for people and it will be supportive for people, but can you make a business around that? I'm not sure. It's not something I've ever done.
Yeah, I haven't done it, but there's a few guys that mentioned to me, Adrian, why don't you do exactly what I just said, a membership site?
Yeah.
And charge maybe 40, 30, 40, 50 pounds or dollars per month, and you do like 2-3 webinars per month where you share with everybody, just like we're doing these live streams, but it will be private, and we talk about with those members, we're talking about specific things that they might need, or some secrets that I have, but yeah.
I think you would have to have a certain amount of reputation to be able to do something like that. I mean,
otherwise, how the heck people,
Yeah, I mean, if Spencer Horse or Alex or any of those guys said, pay $29.99, you can have a one-on-one session with me. I think everybody would sign up. But if somebody like me said, right, pay $30 and you can listen to me rabble on each month, I don't know. I don't think anybody's going to want to do that.
No, I have a big problem, a huge problem, and I'm gonna start to create some content around that on this YouTube channel. I have a huge problem with people who like maybe are like myself, who are making $500, $700, $1,000 per month from a website or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever. And then they think, oh my goodness, now I'm a mentor. I can become a mentor, and I'm gonna start charging people for, coaching or whatever. I have a huge problem with that. But just like Carl was saying, if you become successful with what you're trying to teach, Tony, so don't try to become an affiliate marketer coach if you want, if you're not successful with it yourself yet. You know what I mean? That's my pain with these people, because they and this is in so many industries. They read like 5 or 10 books about business, and now they're business coach, right? So, or they read 5 or 10 books about life, and now they're life coaches. Charge people stupid amount of money, which it's fine if you charge like 500, 1,000, 2,000, whatever you want to charge for your knowledge, it's fine, but you have to be successful first. And people might say, oh no, but define success, Adrian. Yeah, I know. I'm successful because I'm making $500, but if you want to teach others, you have to prove that you had success, consistent success, right? And you know what you're doing.
Yeah, the guys over at Income School, they do a private, one-on-one tuition. I think they charge something like $1,000 an hour. But when they can throw some stats and numbers your way that that they're a reliable source, or they've made it in their industry, then you're going to trust them more. To be honest, there's only one like that I'd signed up for, and that's John over at fatstacks.com. His numbers speak for themselves. I know there's a fine line between guru and and that, and I have a bit of a problem with it. In fact, there's a video coming out tomorrow. You'll see how much of a problem I've got with it. And I do get a little bit angry in it. I think it's the first video I've got a little bit angry in.
Yeah.
But if you can
spit it out.
Yeah, I mean, if you can, like John, if you can throw up numbers like, I'm making 50 grand a month, and he's genuinely doing it, and he's such a nice guy, then, I'll buy into his course. I will buy into a mentorship with him. So I think if it's, if you can genuinely, talk the talk and walk the walk, then, I'd sign up to it. You know what I mean? So
Definitely.
you know.
So Ben here in the chat says Ben is Geeky Tech. Ben is saying that I should check out Mike Winnett or CoffeeZilla. I like these guys. So it's CoffeeZilla, it's Mike Winnett, and it's Spencer Cornelia. I chat with Spencer in LinkedIn. I invited him to the channel, but he was too busy and too stressed creating his hunting these scammers. So maybe we're gonna have him one day. And I kind of had a discussion with Mike Winnett on his YouTube channel because there was one thing that I didn't like about how he presented the content, and I just gave him a suggestion. Trying to be constructive. He didn't. I don't think he took it too well, but it doesn't matter. Hopefully, I'm gonna invite Mike, see if he can join us one day. Flash TV, Miles Beckler. Miles Beckler is great. Yes, he is great. I thought he's a fake guru, but then I started watching his content, and he's a really great guy. So, Carl, let me see if we still have any more questions here in the Facebook group. I think there was, Steve Wiggs says here, how many times is he up in the night with the amount of tea he drinks?
Yeah, I do drink a lot of tea. It's become a little bit of a trademark in my videos that I usually have a cup of tea in my hand. So, yeah.
I think it's empty, isn't it?
It's around 20 a day, which is
all right. Well, I hope it's decaf. Let me see. I think there was another question here in the YouTube chat. I can't see it right now. I'm sorry if I missed your question. Please drop it again. I'll do my best to find it. I don't have my glasses like I was saying at the beginning. Where is here? There was another question in Facebook. So Steve Robertson, he says that my Amazon Associates page has this notice that says Flash widgets will be completely removed on October. Please here to learn more. If you do not use Flash widgets, please ignore this message. I'm not using Flash. I don't know who the hell is using Flash anyway.
Yeah, I saw that, and first thing I thought is, what is a Flash widget? I don't think I'm using them.
Chris says here in the chat, Chris says, it's interesting how we all get the same YouTube recommendations. The algorithm, of course, like Ben is saying here, it's the algorithm, it's feeding us the content that we like to see. Stephen Buchanan says, there's a lady on Flippa that keeps selling successful coupon websites. I think someone like that would be cool to have on the channel. If any of you guys have anybody that you would like to see on the channel, please put them in contact with me. I mean, of course, I don't know many people. I don't know them, so I don't know how to reach out to them. Let me know. And of course, if you have a name, I'll try to get Miles Beckler, see if he wants to come.
I have a friend over in Canada. I'm going to try and get on my channel, and she does.
Oh, I know that lady. When I asked, I told you that put me in contact with her, and you said no. This is exclusive.
I'm gonna. Yeah, it's just. Yeah, it's. I want to get her on the show because I think it's. I'm not going to out a niche or anything, but it isn't websites. And it's because that gentleman just mentioned coupons. It's kind of in that realm, and she makes some serious money. And I helped her out at the beginning. Well, not at the beginning, when she tried branching out, and helped her a little bit to grow it. and she's doing amazing. I mean, she's had some $7,000-8,000 months,
Wow.
and it's incredible. And it's Amazon affiliate. It's Amazon products, and it's a lot of them, but it's not on a website. So
That's
I won't say
awesome.
no more. But if we can get her on either mine or your channel, I'm just so proud of her and how well she's done. So,
Well,
and I
listen,
think people,
why don't you have her on your channel, and then you can tell her, go and talk to this nutter.
I
With,
think it'd just be a really good interview because we're all so used to talking about writing blogs and writing content. And a lot of people, when you say Amazon affiliate, they think that's the only way of making money through Amazon. And like I say, she doesn't even own a website. You know what I mean? And she, I think before the Amazon rate cut, she was at $7,000 or $8,000, and
oh,
I thought she was going to start smashing $10,000-15,000 months. Then obviously the Amazon rate dropped her down. So, but 5, 6, 7,000 a month is pretty good.
yeah. Helen says she knows who
Yeah,
you're talking about,
yeah,
and that girl is awesome.
yeah, she is.
Um. Oh, commit. Welcome. I didn't see you before. Thanks for your question. Carl says, "What are your top link building tactics? Don't say just create. Don't say just create content." By the way, before you go and ask that, Carl, I'm proud of him that he just moved from that mentality of, oh no, create great content and Google is gonna find you, is gonna reward your shit. Well done, buddy. Welcome to
Took my
the.
black hat off.
That's it. Take the white hat off.
Right, I'll put the black hat. Yes, I presume he doesn't mean like you say, just writing good content and hope they naturally build links. Yeah, I mean, I've always known that link building is important. I've always followed, kind of income school advice because, as I worked, income school stayed with me for a couple of days. So I got into kind of affiliate marketing off the back of what them and Alex said. And I don't think Alex is a strong link builder. I think he's dabbled a little bit. I was dabbling with links from the Hoff, and I think he kind of asked me, and he jumped on the bandwagon and tried some of the ones at the Hoff. So I've always kind of gone with the practices of not to build them. And I think the reason I've done that, overshadowing my thought of I actually do need to build them, is just I don't know I never knew what kind of links to build. So it's okay when somebody says, what's your link building strategy? And I want to do a link building strategy. And you say, what type of links do you want to build? And they have no idea. The only thing they can think of is, I'll write a guest post. Okay, so that's one type of link. What about all the others? And then they go, what do you mean? He's like, forum commenting, forum posts, and in-text, editing, and and there's so much diversity. Even just getting a YouTube, like you say, a YouTube video or a YouTube channel, and getting a link in that, and in the description, that's a link of a form. You know what I mean?
Bad boy, don't do that because that's against Google terms and service. So you can't do that, right?
But but there is so many types of links. So when people are saying I want to do a link building, they just don't know what links to build. And that's why I never got into it at an early stage, because I was always so terrified of building the wrong type of link and being penalized for it. So it's only now, when I've done a lot more research and a lot more experience, and met a few friends and colleagues along the way who've advised me and stuff, that I now have quite a safe link building strategy. So
That's awesome. So Carl doesn't have a full picture of how. I don't think you do right now, Carl. Maybe you keep learning now, or about how to put a strategy together. But we're gonna ask that question again in maybe a few months' time, when he has more clear what he needs to build.
Yeah.
And then
I do have some links. So I have purchased some links. So I have used a couple of companies out there.
naughty boy.
So, I don't know any successful website that's probably not, if they're being honest, bought some links from somewhere. what type and
Acquired.
how you do
That's
that.
the term. Acquired. No bindings.
Acquired,
We
yeah.
acquire links. For those
Yeah.
of you on listening to this on the podcast, I'm just doing quotes. Acquire.
So, I mean, link building is a strong part, of creating and influencing your domain authority. There's no doubt about it. And if anybody wants to say, differently, that they can do it without that, yeah, it's going to take a lot longer, going to be a lot more painful, so, but there's always, like I said, there's risk with it. There's risk with anything. I've had sites penalized without any backlinks.
There you go. That's it. There will be many websites that are gonna get into the false positive because they've done something that Google didn't like, but
Yeah.
they were not the target. But unfortunately, that's how it works. So you could get penalized even if you're not building links.
Yeah, I mean, Fish Keeping Forever, my kind of like my first biggish site was, that's had its ups and its downs, and it's gone from zero to hero, then back down to zero again, and that's had I built no links to that. There is some, crappy links on there and stuff, but they've not come from me. So it's what you see on there and stuff is what's come through naturally, which has done more harm than good.
True. Let me see. Let me go back to. I was trying to put the your website on the screen, but I couldn't find it. Is it .com or is it .co.uk?
That one's fishkeepingforever.com.
Oh, okay. I put just fish keeping. That's all. So I hope that answer. I think it didn't answer the question necessarily, Commit, but let's ask this question in a month or two, because Carl is making some badass friends, and he's gonna learn shitloads of new stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of put this out there. I mean, the reason I started my YouTube channel was, and I've said this from day one, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do. All I'm going to do is tell you my experiences and what I'm doing. And if you can pick some up from that, so if I can say, listen, I've spoke to so-and-so, he's given me some great advice about backlinking, and this is what I'm doing. I'll share what I'm doing, but I'm not going to say, go out there and do this and do that. That's not for me to say. I'm not experienced enough to tell you to do that. But if I can share some wisdom that I pick up along the way and it helps you, then that's what I'll do.
Awesome stuff. By the way, actually, let me ask the people's question. My question are not that important. Let me ask what you guys are asking in the chat. Then, if we have a little bit more time, we'll ask my question. So, a nomad overseas says, Carl, where do you recommend sourcing VA to do Pinterest work for our blogs? When do you think is a good point to start using Pinterest on our sites?
I think if Pinterest is right for your niche, then start straight away. The good thing about Pinterest is, it favors new Pinterest accounts. It favors new boards. It loves to kind of see like fresh meat come over to Pinterest. So it's unlike Google, where you need to it takes time and authority to, get some traffic over there. Pinterest can be overnight. It still does take time to rank certain pins. So you still do have to work to get a pin in a number one search. So if you put in there, I don't know, dog breeds, to get that number one pin, it will still take you time, but you just need to create more pins around that topic, and hopefully one of them will stick. So I'm seeing some really good success with Pinterest, and I'm just looking at that question in the chat here, and it has been partly a lot to do with a VA that I got. So part of his question there is like where to find a VA and where to find a good VA. I found mine through Mediavine's Facebook group. So because I'm with Mediavine, they have a private Facebook group, and they're very good at sharing contacts. So I met her through there. She does own her own blog, and she's very successful, but she's done it through pretty much solely through Pinterest. So I think about 90% of her traffic comes from Pinterest.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's huge. So she does the VA work for me. So basically, she will every month create a set number of pins, and she will load them up onto my Tailwind software, which shares them out at various times. So, without her, I wouldn't have seen some success. Where to find one? I would say you just got to ask around. So you're doing it right. You've asked the question, where can you find one? Well, I'm happy to kind of put people onto her. I don't make an affiliate commission, although if I do recommend anybody, she will assess you because she is very, very under time constraints. So she's limited to what she will do. So if you just go there and she does a lot of work for you for a month or two, and then you drop out, she won't see that favorably on me. So, but if somebody's really serious about creating a campaign, then, like you say, reaching out to people like me, I'm happy to send you her details and give her a try. But if not, there is on Fiverr, believe it or not, there's some really good people on Fiverr for Pinterest. And because you're on Fiverr, a lot of people worry, scam me and all that lot. Well, you can't really scam building a Pinterest page. It's, you can see what they're doing. You can monitor the work they're doing. So, look on Fiverr, go in Facebook forums, ask about, and I'm sure, you'll manage to kind of track one down. But having a VA on Pinterest has been, really worthwhile for me.
Excellent info, dudes. Much appreciated, says Anomad Overseas. We appreciate you guys for being here and ask your questions. Flash TV, I only have music on my liked video playlist. Well, add some more our videos. That would be awesome. Where is this question that I saw here? So Kieran has a good question here. Helen likes that question. So, has any of your sites dropped DA with all the Google updates and glitches?
That is a good question. Not dropped in DA, just dropped traffic. It's not affected the DA because the DA usually is coming from the overall domain authority of the site, not a page. So it's something I've not actually checked, whether the page authority has dropped on certain articles that went down in the Maker update. So that would be worth checking. But the actual whole website domain authority has not dropped.
Well, think about this. Traffic is not going to affect your PA or DA.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's not a metric used by Google. So Google doesn't give a shit about that. And that's a metric that you acquire by, quotes again, acquiring links. So if you didn't lose any links, your DA or PA should not drop. Mm-hmm. Basically.
Yeah, agreed. And the core update had, nothing to do with devouring links or anything like that. So no.
By the way, guys,
I just saw a drop in rankings.
Oh, drop in what? Sorry.
I just saw a drop in rankings on articles, so didn't lose any overall authority.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's my understanding. That's my view. First, Google is not using the APA, so I don't think you should look at those metrics too much. And then if you look at those metrics, you gain those metrics by acquiring more links. Or losing links. So if you lose links, then you lose the APA. I just want to ask a question. Do you guys like my shirt? How's this design? This is brand new. This is my uniform. That's how my missus is saying, "Hey, where's your uniform?" And I build a store. So if you guys are curious, I want some feedback on that store. There's a link in the description. If you go and check, let me know what you think. I'm gonna put some more designs, and it's all about motivation and this kind of stuff. Getting out of the rat race. I'm trying to see if we can build a merch site that I've seen some designs making fucking. I swear again, about $10,000 per month per design. That's stupid amount of money. So let me see. There's another question here from Zakaria. Zakaria, welcome. I didn't see you in the chat before. Welcome. Thanks for a question. He says, created a Facebook page for my site and got like 5 visits from there with 80% bounce rate without even promoting it. So he has really 0 likes, literally. And then, can you explain to me how exactly does Facebook show new pages to people? I'm not into Facebook. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what your question is as well, Zacharias. So maybe if you want to um, talk a little bit more.
Does he mean Facebook like showing the posts that he makes in Facebook to his to friends and people? Because that was obviously that was a huge change around in Facebook. I think it's a few years ago now, where you could make a post, so you could advertise a product on Facebook, and it would be shown to 80 or 90% of your friends, and then they changed the algorithm on that, and then suddenly you make a post and it got shown to 5 or 10% of your friends. So if he's talking about that, if he's talking about his web pages on Facebook, I don't know what the correlation is there. That's
Meaning, I'm not 100% sure why you asked. So if you want to rephrase that or go into more detail, but we are not into Facebook. We're not Facebook guys and girls here.
Yeah, I'm trying to stop spending too much time, and I'd just rather create content, create websites, keep working than, I love chatting with you guys, and that's why I do the YouTube channel. That's why I'm so active in the Facebook groups and stuff. But I know there's points in the day where I have to say, do you know what? Just put the phone down and get working.
That's it. There's one question here from Steve that I almost missed. Carl or Adrian, are you guys doing any email marketing? I'm not doing.
I have collected emails before and unsuccessfully used them. That's all I'll say. It is that's a different kettle of fish on its own. That is a part of affiliate marketing that if you're gonna do, you need to really study, learn, and find your way with it. I don't know. Like, put it this way: I could hand you a 10,000 email list and give it to the average person, and they would not make a penny from it because they wouldn't know how to target it, who to send it to, the way to go about it. Whereas I could give a 1,000 email list to a very talented email marketer, and they could make a ton of money. Yeah, so it's I think unless you're trained and good at it, I think it's very hard to make money out of email marketing.
Yeah, I mean you have to each section of internet marketing, each section of the online marketing that and then each subsection of that, it's a beast on its own. So you have to spend time to learn each one of those. So unfortunately, like Carl was saying, you just have to stop in 1 or 2 or 3 if you want, and use one of them. In my case, now I'm doing this YouTube channel, I'm doing the merch, and I'm doing the websites. So I think that's much more than I can handle anyway. But if you want to try email marketing, you have to go all in, and you have to study that stuff, because it's not just collecting emails, and there's you need to learn some tools. You need to learn the sequences that you send an email, then the person open it, answer, and then you need to send another one, and so on and so forth. I would love to learn that in the future, but at the moment I have no time for that.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. I mean, I think just gathering random email addresses on a broad topic is not going to cut it. If, on my pet website, so let's say I've got a general one that deals with every kind of pet. If you can then build an email campaign where you not only collect the email, but then you segregate it into, right, this email is for dogs, and this email was for cats, and then this email that went in the dogs was because they wanted dog food, and then this cat one, they wanted a cat drinking bowl. If you then, that's the way to do it. It's narrow it down to such a small market that you can go, I know these 500 people in here were all interested in dog food. and then you know what to target them at. Whereas if you've generally collected a load of email addresses and you fire out an email that says, hey, there's a sale on dog food this month, and then they're like, I'm a cat owner. You know what I mean? That's where you poor email marketing campaigns fail, by not learning how to do that. And like I say, that's a skill in itself, setting that up.
Yeah, that's very good. That's very good tip there. And there's like Kieran says in the chat, there's loads of GDPR thing to worry about. There's so many legal things that's what I'm saying. You have to learn, and you need to learn it properly, not just oh, let me put a website, or let me send a few emails, or let me make a couple of videos on YouTube. If you go into learning that stuff, you have to go all in.
Yeah.
Carlitos, is your missus behind the screen? Like,
no, she's in the other room with strict instructions to keep the telly down.
No, I'm just asking because maybe she was behind the screen telling, "Come on, what's going on? It's been an hour already." Can we have you for another 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah, fine, mate. No problem. Yeah,
Awesome,
I'm enjoying it. Some good. There's some more questions in the chat as well.
These people are so amazing. Look at the questions at the chat. What's going on? Chris is here from Niche Safari. What's going on, brother? Yeah, give us a thumbs up later on when you check it out, bro. I hope you have a nice, productive way, Chris. And Alex Coca is here as well. How's it going, brother? You came late to the party. That's fine. No worries. Let me tell you something that I just remembered now about the DAPA thing. When Google is doing an update, usually depends on one kind of update it is. Sometimes they make an HTML update, and that usually mess up with the tools. So with the tracking tools. So maybe have a keyword tracker, maybe have a tool like Moz and all these that are tracking the APA and all that. I'm not 100% sure on this, so don't quote me on this, but I believe that when Google is doing some of these updates, they mess up with the tools. So like someone here in the chat was saying, I'm sorry that the chat started to move very fast and I can't see where it is now, but someone would having a DA2 or DA3 or something like that, and then drop to DA1 or PA1 or whatever. And I think that's one of the reasons, because Google is doing this, updates and messing up with the tools. And that's why as well I'm saying, don't look at those metrics, because they're not helpful for you to keep track of how good your website is, I would say. Oh, and Helen says here, can you ask Carl, please? My DA is only 12, but the PA is 22. Is that good or not?
I don't think it's anything to worry about. I think it just means there is more links pointing to certain side of a website or article. So unless that's very, very violently one way or the other, then you could be seeing some negativity through links on there. But as that is at that point, no, I wouldn't worry about it.
As well is because maybe even though you have 200 links pointing to your homepage, Helen, it means that page that has a higher score, the links that it's pointing to that page, even if they're less, they are better. Usually there's so many things that go into the homepage, so many crap, comments and citations and scrapers and all that. So that could be the reason, but that you're just fine. Don't worry about it. Especially,
I think with Helen's as well. I mean, I've worked on Helen's website. I know what it is and where it's come from, and she just needs to think where she got it from, and that'll probably answer the question.
Thanks, Helen. She says she likes the t-shirt. Thank you, darling. So Zakaria says, let me rephrase my question. Created a Facebook page for a new site and got 5 visits from there. I want to know how exactly Facebook shows new pages to people so we can learn to leverage that. I don't know. Maybe I'm sure that has to do with the algorithm as well, Zakaria, with Facebook algorithm. And, depending what people are searching, if your page is relevant, well, you're going to show up to those people, I guess.
I think as well, when he set it up, did he add, there's always a little line that says, your name, your email address, and your website. So I wonder if he's linked that to it somehow. So that could be relevant.
Zenichek, it's Eugene. He wants the contact for that Pinterest lady. So if you want to send me the contact, Carl, and I send it to Eugene. I don't know if you know Eugene. He's in the Hasta La Vista Boss Facebook group, so you can.
Yeah, it's fine. Like I say, I kind of protect her a little bit because I know how precious this lady's time is.
Oh, sure.
So if it's somebody who's serious, I kind of usually give them a bit of an outline of what I pay and what's involved in the service and kind of what you'll have to commit to. And if you're up for that, then I'm happy then to share her details. It's not cheap. It's to be upfront. She charges around 150 Canadian dollars to set up your account, and then she charges $150 each month to run the account, and that's Canadian dollars. So it's quite a strange exchange rate. So it's, I think 100 Canadian dollars is around £60 or so, that, to give you an idea. So you do need to commit to spending, $100 to $200 a month, and for at least 6 months. But to give you an idea of the results, I mean, she's taken my Pinterest account literally from 0 impressions, and it now gets 3 million impressions a month, which brings in about anywhere between 5,000 and 10,000 page views a month to one site. So, and so if you work that out, affiliate commissions and ad rate, it's definitely paying for itself now, but she's kind of laid the foundations for the next year or two.
By the way, there's something that some of you bosses mentioned in the chat about increasing DR and all that. Don't you even think to go on Fiverr or anywhere to buy those services. Those are just, it's easy to manipulate those rankings. Don't buy those services. Don't do it. That's all I want to say to you. Zakaria says here, I heard about a technique to write my article headlines based on Google suggestions. Do you do that, or what technique do you use to find your headlines?
I mean, that's pretty standard content writing. Yeah, I mean, Google away. Don't copy anybody's headlines, but put the keyword in, or the long tail keyword that you're looking for. See what comes up and get your ideas and your suggestions from there. I mean, there's a ton of obviously SEO practices you can do, but start off with the basics by searching on Google. Use Google alphabet soup method. Start finding some titles. Have a look at what's doing well. So, you want your title to be, well-formed SEO-wise, but you also want it to be catchy as well. So, if I'm writing about, can budgies eat an orange? If I just put, can budgies eat an orange? It's not very catchy, is it? You know what I mean? So, you could add, can budgies eat an orange, or will it harm them? ? So, it's just that little bit. It's not clickbait. You're actually saying, if they eat it, would it harm them? So, you're answering the Google search, but you're getting that interest and that click-through rate. So, just learn some of the basic, principles of coming up with headlines, and you'll be fine. But use that practice that you said.
We were talking about earlier about semantic web, and this thing that you've heard about, Zakaria, it's exactly that. So when you type something in Google, you see Google will tell you related searches or related, on the bottom of the page, or if you use any of these extensions like Surfer or the other one. Which one is the other one? I forgot the other one anyway. But if you use any of these, Google is telling you what topics or keywords are relevant to your main keyword. So Google is telling you, hey, if you write best 10 microphones for podcasts, and then it gives you some, gives you on the side maybe some brands, or maybe some models, or any other things, you can use those in your headings, and that's how you create your nice headaches based on what Google is showing. That hey, this is what we want to see. Relevant content. Phil, thanks for being here, brother. Thanks for saying hello, and I hope you have a nice evening. Whoa, it's 9 now, isn't it? So, J5, how's it going, boss? And there was another person in here. World of Aviation, how's it going? Benny saying here, Geeky Tech says, got an 18,000 email list. I struggle to make it viable having a MailChimp subscription.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a MailChimp subscription as the free one, but like I said, I have no idea how to how to even create a list and what to do with it. I mean, I know that you could sell products, of course, services and be in contact with your audience, but you have to have an audience first, right?
Yeah, I think that 18,000 email list is strong. Like I say, if it was then segregated down into smaller lists, so you could say, these 18,000 have now got 2,000 that want this product, 2,000 that are interested in that, and then you could really target it. But like I say, randomly sending an email campaign out to 18,000 isn't cheap. And it's so much like throwing mud at a wall and hoping it sticks. It's so random. But if you'd have set that campaign up right at the beginning correctly, then 18,000 could be very, very valuable.
True. Zenik says here, I will take that. That is definitely something I can commit to. I was planning to invest about $300 into Pinterest VA anyway, so this is a reasonable price, I think.
Yeah. Just do research on whether your niche is popular in Pinterest, because it's not being sounding sexist or anything, but it's a very female-oriented place. And my fish website doesn't do amazing in Pinterest, but my general pets does really, really well. So you just have to be careful and ask some questions. Say to the VA, this is my niche. What do you think? And they'll be able to run some tests, and they'll be able to do some digging around for you, and they'll tell you whether there's a market for it before they even set to work, really.
That's great stuff, buddy. Here's a question from me, since I see the stopped for a second, the chat. And if you guys don't have, I would say that if you have more questions, drop them now, because maybe, it's been 1 hour and 22 minutes. Maybe we can wrap it up in 8 or 10 minutes or so. So if you have one last question, that would be awesome. Let me ask mine quickly. How do you do keyword research when you want to get into a new niche? What's your process? Do you get into, let's say you want to talk about pigeons. I don't know. There's a pigeon here at the window. If you want to talk about pigeons, how do you start looking into Google? Like, do you look for pigeons? Do you look for products, or what's your approach? I'm curious.
So I very rarely look at products first. I'll always look at traffic first, because if you can get the traffic, you'll find a product. So I literally, if it's a topic I don't know anything about, literally just, like you say, just start with typing the word pigeon into Google, and then just, start off with the Google auto suggest, just type pigeon and then type the letter A and see what comes up, and open a spreadsheet up. So get a spreadsheet and just start finding individual words, add them to the spreadsheet so you can come back to it later. Because if you start investigating each little keyword you find right at the very beginning, you'll be there forever. So just start and put pigeon A, and that might come up with, pigeon allotment. So put that into your spreadsheet, come back to that. Then pigeon B, and that might come up with, I don't know, pigeon bird cage. So then put that keyword into your spreadsheet and start that process going. And that will lead you down it's kind of a snowball effect. That then starts leading you on to different avenues that you will not think about, you will not know, but they will start naturally coming up and appearing. If you find all that method and it doesn't work, and you want to revert to using a tool, then yeah, you could use a free tool. You could use something like Answer the Public, where you just type in can pigeons, and that's it, and hit search, and it will come with 100 suggestions of can pigeons, and it'll be, I don't know, fly around the world. Can pigeons, float on water? It's crazy. These searches just, those two are off the top of my head. And if you put, can pigeons fly around the world? I bet that's got search volume. So it just happens. You have to get into the skill of just, understanding that you're not going to sit down at Google and find them instantly. They take a lot of digging around and a lot of, manual labor. And that's, I do, keyword care. That's, people say to me, how do you do it? What's your secret sauce? How do you find them? And there is no secret method. It is just hard work. Just, you need to get to the computer and you need to start, doing these suggestions. And if you don't play around with it, you're never going to learn how to do them, So that's all I suggest. People just need to start learning the art of, playing around with Google, with keyword research.
Interesting. Thank you very much for that, Carl. That was awesome. I know that you got yourself a name in the in the group like as the Carl the keyword whisperer.
I think Amelia came up with that one. The keyword whisperer.
That was awesome.
Yeah. So I don't know where that came from. But, I always tell people this. I am no more of an expert than a lot of other people out there. I've not. It's just basically hard work. You just need to sit down. If somebody purchases one of my keyword plans that are $55, that can take me all day. Because if I don't know the niche, I'm starting off exactly like they would. But I'm prepared to put in the time and the hours to dig around and find those keywords that are, a little bit less competition than others. So that's all you need to do. Dig around and start creating a spreadsheet, and it'll grow and it'll build from there.
That's awesome, brother. By the way, Ben here in the chat says Geeky Tech, he wants the details for the VA as well. So Ben, he's not, I don't think you are in the Facebook group. Are you, Ben? In the Hasta La Vista Boss Facebook group? But if you're not, I'll talk to Carl to see if the lady can help you guys.
Yeah, or if anybody wants to just email me at keywordcare@gmail.com, then I'll, like I said, I won't promise to pass everybody on to her because, like I say, she's such a gem that I don't want to lose her and upset her myself because I know, like I say, she's like me. She can only do so many Pinterest boards. I can only do so many keyword research plans because we're limited to 24 hours in a day. So, if I send 100 people over to her, she just ain't going to accept any of them. So,
I know. That's awesome, brother. Let me congratulate you for your YouTube channel. I want to congratulate you publicly because you passed the 1,000 subscribers with flying colors.
yeah
and that's awesome. Do you want to talk a little bit about it, like how did you start it, why did you start it, what's your plan with it?
I started it, down to a couple of people, really. You, Alex, and Amelia, really. I watched your intro, it was, on your channel. And it was one where I think you was driving home from work and you'd said how you'd spent, 4 hours getting to work or something crazy and doing a 10-hour shift. And that, that amazed me that you could do all that and then jump on YouTube and do live streams and make videos. So, I think it was you who certainly inspired me to get going with them. Alex was a strong force behind it as well. Alex is a good friend of mine, and he's encouraged me to just go for it. And then Amelia certainly put her boot in, and she was just very, very forceful in pushing me into doing it as well. So
do it now.
Yeah, well, the live streams, I'm so nervous about doing live streams, and she was the one. I'd say, I can't do it. I've got children. And then she'd go, I've got children.
Yeah.
And I'd go, yeah, but my children are off school. mine are in the next room, Carl. You know, you know, she made me feel so guilty about, you know, not making videos and doing live streams that, yeah, kind
Definitely.
of
She
forced me.
was right about it.
I'm really enjoying it. You know, I think it's a great way to answer questions. So,
Sure.
you know, when I get so many questions each day now, and I am managing, I think, to answer everybody's questions in Facebook and YouTube and all over the place, Instagram. I've now got a Discord server that my son set up for me. So if you want to join that, just head over to my channel. The link's in the description. I think we've got about 40 people in there at the minute. And that's a really good place because I get asked the same question every day. Probably you do. I know Alex does. You know, and it usually revolves around what type of niche can I start, or how do you do keyword research? And it's very difficult sometimes to answer every single person with the same, you know, question. So I just thought the YouTube channel is a great way to say, this is not how you should do keyword research, but this is how I do it. And if it helps you, great. So that's what my video, my kind of YouTube channel was all about. Just me saying, you know, I might not know a lot about, I don't know, you know, semantic SEO, but what I do on my websites regarding that, I'll show you. And if it
Sure
helps
thing.
you, great.
It's a learning process, brother. It's a learning process. And
Yeah.
and I want to make a video called "You Have to Have Cojones." I don't know if you know, guys, what cojones means. Balls to do what many of us here doing. We are what usually people do. They expect they wait until they become successful, and then it's so much easier for you to create content. Oh, this is how I made my first 10,000 pounds per month. Oh, and this is how I created this. Oh, and that's easy. But what's complicated is difficult is for you to put your face out there, and risk of being ridiculed and all that. Oh, look at this guy. He wants to make money online. Who the hell he thinks he is? You know, like, and we're not successful yet. You know, like we're not like. At least what we want to, you know, become like free and work on our own business, no boss. But it's a learning curve. In like we were talking before we went live, like I said, I'm so happy that you stepped into more nerdy stuff because that's gonna give you an edge over 90% of the people that's gonna try to do the same thing as you do.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you know, the fish keeping website, that's my competition. Like, I'm not going to out them or anything, but my competition gets nearly 1 million searches a month, and he has half the content I have, and he's only been around for 2 years longer than I have. So this person is doing something else to get 1 million searches a month. So, you know, I could really stop that website now, don't write any more content, and just look at other things and, you know, see if I can drive traffic that way, because the amount of content that's on there is capable of doing hundreds of thousands of searches a month, but it isn't. So that gets me going. Why isn't it? What can I do? So that's the learning process for me now, you know. So there's every step of the way you can learn something new, and that's where I'm at now. So, you know, trying to learn those little tactics and stuff to, you know, see better success.
That's awesome. That's how you get the competitive advantage. If you guys have any more questions, I'm gonna answer them maybe in the next live stream. Of course, they're not gonna be addressed to Carl, but I still haven't eat anything yet since I came from work, and I'm sure the missus is missing Carl.
About that.
So maybe before we go, and do our things, is there any advice or anything that you would like to share with us, Carl, with people that are behind you? You know, maybe they're just starting now, maybe they never heard about this, like the guys that I was saying when I share this type of videos on my Facebook profile, people don't give me any like. So maybe, you know, any tips, any motivational stuff, anything that you would like to share with us?
I think the one thing I kind of always try and get over to people is that it's all in your hands. Affiliate marketing is down to you. How successful you can be is endless. Talking about John over at Fat Stacks, I'm on his email list, and he sent one out the other day, which was, all of a sudden you get a little snippet of information that twings something in your head, and this did with me. And his email was entitled something like, the number of posts on WordPress is not limited, and that's all it said. And I just kind of just thought, what does that mean? And when I read it, what he was trying to get over to you is, it's up to you how successful your WordPress site is. If you want to add 10 blogs onto your website, you're going to get a percentage of success, but it's unlimited. You can grow your website or your business as much as you want in this business, because it's endless. It's open. It's not like you've got a retail shop in a high street that only gets X amount of customers per week. Our audience is huge. And if you want to put 100 articles on your website and let it sit and earn X amount of dollars, then that's fine. That is what it will do. But if you want to add 1,000 blogs onto your website or get 1 million organic traffic a month, then there's nothing stopping you doing that. So, that's one thing I like to try and get across. And I'm going to do that more in my videos. I always get people saying, I'm thinking about building a website and I'm thinking of putting 30 articles on it. And I go, and then what? And they just go, well, I hadn't really thought about that. It was like, you don't stop at 30. It may only take you 30 to earn a really good amount of money. Who knows? But it's endless, So we all started off right at the beginning. Every website starts off with one post at a time. Everybody hit that publish on that first one. Start publishing content, learn from it, grow from it, and don't put a ceiling on it. Don't put a ceiling on your expectations. Just go with it. Just go crazy with it.
That's awesome stuff there, Carl. Thanks again for taking finally the time and the courage to come with this nutter here. As you've realized, I haven't swear that much because I'm trying to get better at this, and of course the worry is that if I swear, well, I won't be able to monetize the channel later on.
Yeah, no, congratulations on you. You're very, very close to your 1,000 as well. So,
getting there.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you, brother. And thanks everybody here in the chat. Zakaria, Alex, Helen, J5, Ben. Today there's so many people. I love you all. Thanks for being here. Who else was in here asking question? Michelle is there. Kieran. I'm sorry if I don't mention your name, but I really, really, really appreciate you guys, and bring your questions to the next live stream. I'm not 100% sure who we're gonna have next. Maybe we're gonna have a big name. Maybe we have a boss, like a future boss, like Carl, but. Thanks again for your questions, and remember, like I like to say, stay focused, because we're going to get rid of that boss. All right? Thanks for watching, bosses. Bye.